Is Coinbase next? In an exclusive you're only gonna see in this channel, I'm gonna show you the facts that are gonna give you what you need to decide if Coinbase is gonna be the next big boy to fall. So whether you need your Adderall or to puff the boom, I suggest you do it now, because this video is not for Nancy's. We're gonna get deep. Real quick legal disclaimer, all the facts that you see here are actually from Coinbase's filings. What I say is my opinion and only my opinion. And as always, any article you see in this video will be linked in the description below. The best thing is, this isn't an article, this is Coinbase's public financial filings. Oh yes, if there's a US public company out there, they've got to file quarterly, and this gives you all the juicy deets to their books. Now, this information is made public, but you gotta know how to use it, and that's why I'm here to help you. So we are gonna scroll on down to their frontline page, and their page, this is number 5 right now, all right? Current assets and liabilities, and let's just blow this up a little bit in size. You could see that December 31st last year, there was $7 million in cash equivalents that they had. Now that's not millions, why? Because you have to add thousands on there, so they had 7 billion in cash equivalents. Now, same time period, right? We're looking at September 30th. They are at what? 5 billion in cash. So they have burned 2.1 billion cash since December 31st. That is a 9-month time period. All right, let's scroll on further. And there is a little bit of financial shadiness here. I'll explain it to you. They added customer crypto assets to their books, bolstering up their assets. All right, so they're kind of counting your assets as theirs on their books. Now it's okay, because they did the same thing with the liabilities, and you can see footnote number 1 right here, as well as footnote number 2. Those footnotes explain the actual kind of in-between details, and there's so much into this. So let's keep going. All right, so now if you take that 95 billion that they had on here, guess what you can do with that? You can subtract it with the 107 to make it 12 billion in assets. Now you look at December 31st, 2021, guess what right there? So we went from 18 billion to 12 billion. So they burned 6 billion in assets. And you're going to ask yourself, well, Klaus, why would they report this extra 95 million right here? Well, that's actually pretty easy. The reason they would do that is to make it look like they got more, right? Because when you look at this from the start, you're seeing, hey, wait a minute, they have 18 billion. Now they have 107 billion. Oh my God, this is great. So for the layperson out there, they're not paying attention, well, to the obvious, the 95 billion in customer assets that are brought on into their books. Okay, now hold up. So they went from 18 billion in assets now to 12 billion. Again, to get to 12, you have to take this 95 billion, subtract it from the 107, boom, you get your 12. That's a huge drop. That's a $6 billion asset loss in the last 9 months. Now, if we know they have 12 billion in assets, rotate that on through, everyone, that would say in 18 months at the current pace, they would be done, run out of assets. Now, hold on. I'm not saying that they would be done as a company. There's a lot that goes into this, but on the assets base, right? How much assets you have, because you need assets to function. They would run out at this pace without any cash infusions or changing of the markets. Now, there are some things that definitely scare me a little bit on the books, and let's go even deeper. And I hope you hit that subscribe button by now, because you know you're not getting this from other channels. All right, what about property and equipment? Check this out. They have now even more on the books. They have more property, right? These are non-current assets. So they're counting way more property on the books as assets. What's happening to property, everyone? Values are going down, especially in commercial real estate. So they are now owning more property, right? They're saying they have more assets and property, but that market is shrinking, so maybe they don't have 170 million worth. And remember, you can always liquidate property real quick. Well, not really anymore, right? You see my point here. What else? Intangible assets. Guess what? They're now saying they magically have 400 million more intangible assets. They used to have 952, now they have 1.3. Interesting, isn't it, everyone? What else is very interesting here? Oh my, accounts payable. They now have about 22 million more in accounts payable, bills due. Now let's take things even further. Oh, now we're getting even to more stuff. And no, I don't condone the use of puffing the boom or running the Adderall or any of that kind of stuff. But if you needed to follow stuff like this, I gotcha. Now let's get to the juicy goodness. We've got greens, reds, and yellows, and you're in daddy's backyard, boys. All right, revenue. Here's what's really scary. You have two different columns here. You have a 3-month period here on the left and a 9-month period here on the right. We're going to keep bouncing back and forth, but don't worry, I gotcha. So revenue. All right, revenue in the quarter of 2021, they had $1.2 billion in revenue last year at this time period. How much they have now? $576 million, a massive reduction in revenue. Now, this goes on even further. Other revenue is not counted in their main line. Whenever you see other on any of these statements, that's stuff that they can't quantify. What's really scary here is the high numbers of others, all right? When it comes to quantifying as a business, other is the last thing you want in the bucket. And for all of my CPAs, accountants, and financial gurus out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The other bucket is where you usually hide things because you can't statistically categorize them because it's now in the other bucket. So anyways, their other revenue has declined quite heavily. So you could see across the board, they went from 1.3 billion in revenue same time last year to now only 590 million in revenue. Now, this column on the right that has the 9 months is telling you what does it look like over the year because now the crypto winter has been going on all year. So how much pain is there? Well, guess what? The first 9 months of 2021, they made 5.3 billion in revenue. They are now at only 2.5 billion over that same time period. Do the math on everyone. Almost $2.8 billion less revenue. And we talked about cash burn, right? So if there's less cash coming in and they're burning more cash and their assets are worth less, oh, interesting. Now let's break this down even further. And I've highlighted some things here that are definitely alarming to me. And now, mind you, I'm a Coinbase fan as well as a Coinbase user, but I'm just showing you the information. Technology and development. They've spent now more on technology and development than they did last year. Again, expenses going up. 1.7 billion versus 831 million. That's a lot more money being spent during a crypto winter where revenues are going down. And oh, don't you worry. Revenues are definitely going down. Trading volume's going down. I even have that detail for you. All right, so let's go even further. Sales and marketing. All right, the good thing here is they're spending less on sales and less on marketing. Really, really good, honestly. That is really, really good to see because that is where you can start saving money. Remember, they also let go a bunch of their staff too. That's another way that you could save money. So they obviously see that they're doing it. Now there's a big, big red light though flashing in front of me. This is general and administrative costs. Their expenses have blown through the roof on this from 242 million to now 339 million. Whoa, is that a lot time over time? Now, how big is that bucket, in terms of expense-wise? How much more are their general expenses? Now, mind you, their general expenses are going up while their assets are going down, while trading volume is going down. Think of how that is in your mind, right? Your expenses are going up while all your money coming in is going down. Almost doubled. Last year at this time period, $612 million. Now, $1.2 billion spent on general and administrative stuff. That's crazy. That's on the operating expenses. That's OPEX. So whenever you hear people talking about OPEX, that's what it is. So if I use OPEX later, that's what I'm referring to, operational expenses. So now look at the total operation expenses line right here. 1.1 billion versus 1 billion last year. Now, year over year, this is where it gets totally crazy right here, okay? This is when you look at it, look at this. Total operating expenses, 4.7 billion this year versus 3.1. That is a $1.6 billion difference, right? They have 1.6 billion more in expenses to keep their company operating, while less money is coming in, while their assets are down. Remember also I said, hey, they said they have more real estate on the books. Real estate values are going down. Okay, just keep holding. So now they have losses, all right? There are big, big losses on the books, and let's get into them. Losses are right here. That's million. I keep forgetting. $544 million in losses just this quarter. Now, the last time they had, like last year at this quarter, 406 million they made. They made, everyone. So a total flip, right? Year over year, a complete flip of making 406 million and now losing 544 million in one quarter. Holy crap. Now, you can take their quarterly loss. divide it by the amount of cash and assets they have on their books. And you should really honestly only go by cash, because think about it, if you need to raise money through quick liquidity of like real estate, liquidating any of your hard assets, that takes time. And you normally get pennies to the dollar in a flash sale, and people would know that, right? Like, so if Coinbase put a building up for sale that there was theirs, don't you think the real estate agent would be like, hold on, this is from Coinbase, and we obviously know they're hurting, they're a crypto company, so we could offer them way less. See what I'm saying? Their assets are worth less and less and less. Now, if you take the losses, and I'm going to show them to you right here, their actual loss now for the year. So they made, at this point in time last year, the first 9 months of last year, they made $2.7 billion. Now they're at a loss of $2 billion. Over. And this is just crazy to think about. Over a 21-month time period, we have seen a delta of $4.7 billion on the loss side. That is crazy when it comes to income and revenue. So now what does that mean for the stockholders, shareholders? Well, pretty simple, all right? When you divide those losses by the shares, common stocks, you can see that last year, that quarter, they made $1.92 per share. Where they're now at a loss of $2.43 per share. Now, I want to take you even deeper to a few other highline items here. Now you can also look at their cash flow, all right? Like I said, there's so much detail put in here. You just have to understand how to pick through it. And if you're still watching now, thank you, because you got to be a dork like me. Now, unrealized losses on foreign exchanges. And remember, these companies got to report this stuff, but they like to hide it. There's no like kind of format officially you have to use. So you can hide stuff wherever you want, pages and so forth. But how you have to count it should actually stay the same. Now, let's look at unrealized loss on a foreign exchange. They have lost $192 million, all right? Unrealized is if they haven't sold it. We're going to have a crypto winter for a while. So again, if they need assets, their assets on foreign exchanges are worth less. Now, at the same time last year, they had $16 million in gains. So you could tell their own stuff on outside exchanges is down by a huge amount. A huge amount. Realized gain on crypto assets, way less, from 125 million now to only 34. So they're not even making what they got. That's realized. When you realized it, you sold it. So they sold for way less than what it was worth. And most of these here, about 25%. 25% of what they bought it for. So when they sold, they lost money on those assets. You can go even further for fair loss value gain on their derivatives. So they've actually lost on their derivatives. Where here they gained 23 million. So again, you could see where we're losing 20, 10, 15 million in all these little buckets, but those things add up. And that's what they don't want you to see. That's the hidden information. That's the value of this channel, because I'm going to show you how to take it deeper. And gents, if you're not packing the heat, well, then I'll show you how to mentally take it deeper. All right, let's talk about cash flows, because cash is king. And that's how a company operates. What is their cash flow? This is crazy. Cash and cash equivalents, all right? These are for the first 9 months of 2022 on the left, first 9 months of 2021. All right, so we can compare apples to apples year over year. Look at how much less cash they have. 6.3 billion last year they had cash versus 5. That's crazy. Now, if you look at total cash and cash equivalents, because remember, customer custodial cash, there's even less customer cash on their platform. In fact, they went from 8.9 billion in customer cash on their platform to only 6.5. So you can see now there's less users. These users also have less cash on their exchange. And don't you worry, we're going to get into crypto here very soon, because we're not just talking the finances, we're going to talk trading activity too. Holy shit, is this channel cool. All right, what about total cash, cash equivalents, and restricted cash? Year over year, 15.3 billion they had last year for the first 9 months. Now what do they got? 11.6. That is a huge bad change in the amount of cash they have on the books, but they still got cash on the books, so just keep that in mind. Can they turn it around during this crypto winter? How long can this crypto winter last, right? Can these companies withstand it? That's why I said cash is king. How much cash do you have to weather the storm? All right, let's go even further, everyone. Crypto assets borrowed. Whoa, baby, you guys borrowed a lot of assets, and that is a very scary number. I've got that right here. Let me erase this just so you can see the numbers a little cleaner. All right, hold on. Let me get my eraser. Yep, here we go. So they borrowed way more assets. Look at that, 728 million. That's a lot. Wow. Okay, crypto assets borrowed, repaid with crypto assets. That number's through the roof. So, which is good. I mean, at least they're repaying it, all right? That's the good thing. Now let's get on to information regarding crypto. So before we get to the big crypto on the platform, all right, how do they make their money and where do they make their money? Well, obviously they make their money on plenty of different things, but the majority of it is their crypto platforms. Now you can see in 2021, there was $1 billion in revenue generated by the United States. Now, same time period, this just now, 500 million. So revenue in the United States is down by 50%. So now hold on. Their assets on their books are worth less. Their property is worth less. Now their revenue is down by half in the United States, which is their biggest market. What about the rest of the world? Holy crap, is it down way more than half? That means the rest of the world is falling out of favor with Coinbase. Got it right here. 307 million is what they had last year for revenue from outside of the United States. Check it out. Only 88 million now. Oh my gosh. That is knocked down way more. That's like 70%. It's nuts. I don't even know what the hell. I'm not doing the mental math. It's crazy. So we have way more people outside of the United States falling way more out of favor with Coinbase. Holy crap. Now, if you want to look at their total revenues between that, all right, you can see right here, 1.3 billion versus 590 million. Interesting about that, no other individual country accounted for more than 10% of the total revenue. So it's the United States and then a whole bunch of other small pieces together. But think about that small piece, all right? Small pieces, don't let them fall through. You can't let them fall through the cracks. Small pieces add up, all right? Think about what they lost. The 307 million to only 88 million. That's a huge number. That is massive. What, 230? Almost 229 million, something like that? That's crazy. So, I mean, 229 million compared to the 500 million United States. That's nuts. See, so those little pieces do add up. Now, what are their big cryptos that people are trading? And so, where's the volume coming from? Well, I've got that for you. Oh, but real quick here, I also wanted to show this one. Crypto assets held for operating purposes. You could see that they had 357 million in assets held for operating purposes. Remember, we talked about operating expenses, right? Money you need in order to have your business operate. They now have only 123 million, which means what, everyone? They sold $230 million worth of crypto assets for operating purposes. That's a lot of crypto that they flipped just to keep their books running. So now what are their biggest holdings, crypto fans? Well, guess what? Bitcoin, yeah, 39.9, that's their fair value. But if we look at it in terms of percentage, 42% was Bitcoin, 25.3 was Ethereum, and 32.7 the rest of it in other crypto assets. There is a note here that says no more than 5% of total customer assets was something other than Bitcoin or Ethereum. So again, a bunch of smalls. But think again about that, right? We just saw the smalls really do add up. Now, what about deposits? Pretty interesting here because, again, cash in comes out. Doesn't matter what line they fall in, deposits are deposits. Deposits last year at this time, 9.6 million, now 2.5 million, and this is per this strategic one right here. You also can see here that it went from 13 million down to 10, so deposits are less across the board. You could actually take the data on there way further and way deeper. There were tons more pages, tons more charts in there to go over, but I just wanted to highlight with you the high points of their P&L. Now, long story short, okay? They're losing money more and more and more. Their assets are worth less. They're burning through crypto assets super fast for operational expenses. Brian Armstrong recently has sold some of his Coinbase shares. I think it was around like $10 million worth of it. We can calculate their cash burn rate based on current market conditions, and we could see how much cash they have left to make it. At the current rate, you are looking at anywhere from 12 to 18 months if things do not turn around, if Coinbase does not make some major operational expense changes, if they do not get some big cash infusions within 12 to 18 months, they will simply run out of assets. Real quick legal disclaimer, all the facts that you see here are actually from Coinbase's filings. What I say is my opinion and only my opinion. And like I said, in that P&L right there, Hey, this is public information. It's not FUD. That's the math. Math doesn't have emotions, and I'm pointing out to you the differences between 2021 and 2022. Some of the scary stuff on this P&L is that it's not just the United States losing 50% of their trading action, but as the rest of the world is declining in favoritism of Coinbase, pulling almost 66+% of trading off of their platform. So how are you going to sustain it if more people within your country and around the world are taking their funds out of your exchange? They are now participating less, they're buying less, your income is less, your expenses though are more. Coinbase, I'm not calling you out or anything, but you've got some serious problems. Thank you very much for watching this little bit more in-depth version of Crypto with Klaus. If there are other companies out there that you want to go deep into that are publicly traded, we could do it on this channel because I bet you a bunch of others can't. Thank you very much for watching. Check out this cool video right here, which will be a little bit less intense. I'll catch you cool people later.